picture.
And it is Friday. We made it through the week.
We did it, Collin.
Oh, we did.
This week flew by for me.
For you.
You've had a rough one.
I have. It's been a week.
It's okay, but the weekend's on the horizon.
Yes.
Are you going to do anything fun?
I have a wedding over just north of Indianapolis.
You're going to Buc-ee's.
Mm-hmm. I will stop at Buc-ee's.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, oh, you've got to go. So, I don't know. Maybe either on the way out or the way back, I'll stop. Maybe.
I kind of want to go to the Monster Jam.
Okay.
On Saturday.
Do it. Isn't it? It's like all weekend long at the Shot, right?
I've never been to one. You said you've been to a couple.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I come from the part of the country where monster truck rallies are a huge thing all the time. They are. They're very loud.
Okay.
Take earplugs. Like, you will need them.
They're that loud.
Very loud.
Wow.
But they can be fun.
I just want to see these trucks do like crazy flips and stuff. It just sounds like just so entertaining.
Yeah. It can be. All right.
Maybe that's what I'll be doing. Come see me at the Monster Jam, everyone.
Why not? They can be a lot of fun. All right.
Yeah.
So,
well, we
the big top story
really
today.
Big top story today. Master Sergeant Simmons, he is officially being laid to rest.
The visitation is now just getting underway at the church. We've got a live look right here. Hold on. There we go. This is at the church.
The First Church of God on Refugee Road. And the visitation started just now. It's going until 10:30. And it'll be followed by a service at 11. So you can see there's the casket right there, and people are walking in, or not the casket, excuse me, the
church and the hearse, and this is open to the public once again. This runs through 11 or 10:30 this morning. Then there is what the family is calling a homegoing service that begins at 11. Of course, we will be covering this. Catherine Simon, along with our photojournalist Bill Price, will be there. In a very respectful manner, the family is allowing media to be there.
And they've been very open and vocal about Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons and his passing. The other two families of the Ohio Airmen, they wanted more privacy, and we respected that.
That's completely understandable.
Absolutely.
So
he was killed last month in Iraq during a refueling situation.
Yes.
Yeah, just tragic, and that investigation is still underway. We don't exactly know how that all led up.
So Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons was one of 3 Ohio Airmen killed in this refueling mission in Western Iraq as part of the 121st Air Refueling Wing. And that's all based out of Rickenbacker Air Force, or National Guard Air Base, Air National Guard Base in Columbus. Their plane, it was a KC-135 Stratotanker. Yeah. These have been around for a long time. And, we're still, like I said, it's still under investigation of what exactly happened there.
I went to an event his family had in honor of him when they first found out the news, and his friends were just completely shocked. I mean, these missions are obviously top secret and private, and they had no idea where he was going or if he was even being deployed. So when they got the phone call that he had passed away, they were obviously devastated. And they said, his family has said that he loved his job. He loved flying. Yeah. He eventually wanted to be a pilot, right? Or he wanted to go into commercial flying at some point.
Yeah. And
so he just loved it. He had a passion for it.
Right. And he loved being in the service. Yeah. So when at the time of his passing, he was a tech sergeant, which is a rank below, but his dream was to become a master sergeant, and that was awarded to him posthumously. He was just 28 years old when this crash happened.
So young.
And, his family has talked to 10 TV a few times, talking to Yolanda Harris, because she's got connections with the family. And just recently we spoke with his father about this, and, it never gets any easier.
The reality that he has exited is so surreal, unbelievable, unimaginable, a parent's worst nightmare.
My favorite saying is that grieving never gets easier, it just changes with time.
Yeah.
So our thoughts and prayers are with their family today. We know flags are still at half staff. Governor DeWine has ordered that, and they can return to full mass after sundown tonight. Yes,
because Master Sergeant Simmons is the last of the 3 that will be laid to rest. And so we do know that Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons, he is a Columbus graduate, went to Eastmore Academy, graduated high school there in 2015. He played football. We have covered this very closely, but as we mentioned, flags can go back up to full mast later this evening because Captain Curtis Angst and Captain Seth Koval have already been laid to rest here recently. And of course, we have followed the homecomings of these three. And you can find that over on 10 TV. We've honored these three airmen who served in Ohio, killed in that crash in Iraq, from their final mission to their community, welcoming them home. Of course, this is the program, The Final Salute. You can watch that right now here on 10 TV Plus.
And Station Akin will be joining us later in our programming. She obviously does a lot with the veterans community here. And she will be talking to us about this ceremony and what's happening, and just, these three airmen.
She can add a lot of perspective to it.
A lot of perspective about just what the families are going through right now. So let's switch gears. We'll obviously keep monitoring that as this, the visitation hours get underway.
Right.
Again, Catherine Simon for us is there at that visitation right now, and the service starts at 11. But we want to switch gears to Whitehall. We've been covering this all this week. The recall that is happening.
It's now a legal battle.
Right, it is a legal battle. And some community members are calling for the mayor to be off of his seat and two other council members.
Right. We're talking about Mayor Michael Bivens along with Councilwomen Lori Elmore and Amy Harkar. There's been a petition that started circulating to recall all three of these positions, basically saying, throw it up to a vote and that these people need to resign. Once these recall petitions were validated by the Board of Elections and then accepted by the clerk of the council, each one of these three had 5 days to resign their seats. Otherwise, it would be forced into a special election. Obviously, the three did not resign. And now we're still up in the air on when we could see a special election. We expected them to set that at Tuesday's city council meeting, but they didn't.
Yeah,
Council
it needs to
decided
happen
to
by
table
the
that.
end of May.
Right. We have April 30th to May 30th to get that done. And so we don't know what's going to happen here. But now this legal battle that's now beginning was filed by the former Whitehall City Attorney, Michael Shannon. And that's challenging those recall petitions.
Yeah. And some of the conversation now is accusations about race playing into all of this, and we talked to FOP President Bryn Steele about it.
Right, and Brian Steele. So how the FOP got involved in this is that the FOP to some degree has been supporting the recall effort, and we took these some of these allegations to him.
I have not seen or heard any racism. I could tell you the FOP does not condone racism in any form. We would absolutely never back an organization.
Yeah.
So some of these allegations are coming from Franklin County elected officials who turned out yesterday to really throw their support behind the mayor and the two councilwomen that are currently facing recall. So this is Franklin County Commissioner Erica Crowley.
He is the first Black elected mayor, and the things that have been spewed in person in meetings, I've been at meetings or online, have been hateful and have been racial undertones.
So
supporters continue to say that this is about accountability and maybe possibly the misspending of city money. So I know we do have a soundbite of one of the
I'm a citizen of 61 years. I have watched our city go downhill.
So people do have some very strong opinions on Whitehall and what the future of that looks like, whether that be a recall effort or letting things continue as is. Because we saw in a meeting the other night, the people who spoke at the meeting were very much opposed to this recall effort. We also know it's going to be very expensive.
Oh yeah, it could cost the city of Whitehall $40,000.
Right, because
that's a lot of money.
Right, the cost of running a special election comes out of the city's pocketbooks. So it is taxpayer dollars we're talking about. And back to that lawsuit that is being brought by the former city attorney, he's arguing that these petitions that started this whole thing don't have enough signatures, that they didn't use the right math.
Yeah.
So Whitehall City Charter writes in there that in order to force a recall, you have to have 15% of the total votes cast in the most previous election. So we're looking at like 2023 for Mayor Michael Bivens. Shannon's arguing that, they used the wrong number and these recall efforts are just invalid altogether. So that's all going to go up to the state Supreme Court at this point.
Yeah. A lot of back and forth, definitely a split issue, but we're going to keep following it.
Yeah. Whitehall currently not talking, they're not commenting on it because obviously it's pending litigation.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
So, okay. Alrighty. Well, Unfortunately, the Blue Jackets lost last night.
It was
I know.
rough. You know,
And they need more people to lose to even get in. It's
Right.
just a lot.
yeah, and I know the last time we talked to Tyvis, the Buffalo Sabres have been an on and an off team. They have good nights, they've got bad nights. Unfortunately, it was a good night for the Sabres. Yeah,
I know.
and it was an away game. Obviously, we played in Buffalo, so
Yeah. And we're talking about the Masters with Tyvis coming up as well. And those famous pimento
golf?
cheese sandwiches. I do golf, but am I good?
yeah,
Up for
I'm
debate.
not good.
I can hit the ball. Where it goes, I don't know.
At least you can make contact. Mine is
Yeah.
hit and miss sometimes.
Well, let's go golfing together this summer.
Yeah, my
Sounds
golf
like
clubs
a plan.
are very dusty. They have not been out of the garage in probably a
I
year
golf
and a
with
half.
my grandmothers,
Okay.
and they're old. So old. Like, gosh, they are like, I don't even know, like 50 years old.
Yeah.
That's really old golf clubs.
Oh yeah, and, still got the wooden clubs. They still use,
I think some of them are in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I'll show them
problem
to
is,
you.
yeah, my problem is I can't drive. I cannot.
See, I can drive.
See, my long game terrible.
Yeah.
I drive with a 5-wood because I cannot use a driver. I know there's probably some quick solution to that, but I can't do it.
Well, we definitely know Meredith loves golfing, so we
Yeah.
just maybe got to get out with her and
Right.
hit some balls. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tyvis is joining us next in about 2 minutes, so stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Big Picture. Tyvis Powell joining us on this Friday.
How y'all doing? Happy Friday.
It's
we
almost
made
the
it.
weekend. I know. Love
made
it.
it.
Live for the weekend.
Obviously, y'all have a longer show to do. Once I'm done, my weekend starts.
Yeah.
So happy for y'all.
Well, I think our plan is also like once 10 o'clock hits,
Yeah.
we
we might
might be scooting out of here.
Yeah.
But you have to stick with us for a couple more minutes.
That's
we got
fine.
some stuff to talk about.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Let's talk about the CBJ.
Do we have to?
It has not been positive lately.
The
They
Sabres,
lost. I know.
we talked they're an on and off team, and the Sabres unfortunately had
We've all been rooting for them,
But
and they just aren't pulling
Buffalo is basically Canada. It's
Listen, Buffalo has had a couple of years where they've been down, and now a lot of their young guys have developed into veteran players, and now they're having this wonderful season. With the Jackets, a couple weeks ago when they was losing some of those games that I thought that they should win, I kept telling them, when you get towards the end of their schedule and you see some of the teams that they're playing, those are going to be difficult to win. And I think the frustration with yesterday's game was that it's not the fact that they lost, it's the fashion that they lost in. To a game that you must have, we're talking must-win games to get into the playoffs, you lose 5-0. Like that, to me, is like, okay. But I would have to say that when I watched the game, as I was watching this unfold, it was 1-0 for a lot of that game. And I'm like, that's fine. The Jackets can find a way to win in this game. And I just thought Buffalo's goalie just did a really good job of stopping. He had 37 saves. That's a lot.
That's hard to come back from.
Exactly. So, you're going up against a very hot goalie at the time, and you're getting, I think you outshot them on the shots on goal. They just weren't going in. And I think the problem that a lot of people have with the way that they lost was after they went down 2-0, it seemed like they kind of gave up. And that's the frustrating part, because if you're a playoff team, you're not giving up ever. Your season is on the line.
Right.
And they ended up giving up back-to-back goals to get it to 4-0 in 25 seconds from each other. So it was like, this is the performance that y'all giving us. Now, it's not over with because Philadelphia lost last night too. So they're still 2 points out, which is 1 win out of the last Metro spot, which is what they have to be aiming for. The wild card, to me, they're not getting that.
Yeah, it's gone.
But they can still find a way to make it through the 3rd spot in the Metro. So you got 3 games to go. Obviously, you need Philadelphia to lose 1 and you need to win. But you look at the games that they got coming up, it's not going to be easy.
Right.
Yeah. They got to keep fighting. They can't give up yet.
You can't give up yet. And I keep trying to be the optimistic one, and everybody is like, oh, season's over with. They're cooked, blow it up, and all of these things. And I'm just like, no, you got to let this thing play out. If they truly, because I feel like we've seen them play so well this season, I don't want it to go to waste. I thought Bones has done a great job. Coach Bones has done a great job coming in there and getting these guys to believe in themselves. And for some odd reason, it's like they don't like they used to before. And they're not playing team hockey like they used to before. And it's just, to get this close and slip at the end, it just doesn't make sense. So I hope that they finish the season out. You got to win these next 3 to give yourself a chance, and hopefully Philadelphia trips over their feet.
Yeah, we'll see. So let's go from the ice rink to the green. Augusta, Georgia. I love the Masters. I love golf, though. I like watching golf. I like the,
What about playing?
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit. Playing's fun.
I enjoy. It's a great
I love driving.
day drinking sport.
Yeah, you can day drink.
That's
you
the
can
only
drive
reason
the
to play
golf cart. You can get some anger out by really whacking some of those golf balls. I mean, it's like
I have
the
not been
only bonuses to playing golf. I don't see any negatives really. But so
Sunburn.
the Masters is happening right now in Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Big deal. The green jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot on the line. I don't even know how much the purse is this year. Do you?
I don't know how much.
Last
the
year
purse
it was 4.2. I'm assuming it's probably more than that this year.
It's $4 million.
I'm gonna Google
For
it.
$4
really
million.
quick. Last year it was
Listen,
4.2 million.
You got to lock in for $4 million.
Oh, yeah, you got to lock in.
Well, it seems like Rory's probably going to win it again. I mean,
he's in the lead right now,
He's putting
right?
himself in good position. Obviously, one bad day could end it all for you. Hopefully that doesn't happen for him. But I'm still rooting for Jason Day. He's tied for 3rd right now. Guy who's a local guy that lives around here. I would love to see a Westerville guy go out there and win it all. So, and I want to see him. He needs to put on the whole costume when he wins it all over his green. Put the green jacket over his whole costume.
Yeah, so the purse is $5 million this year.
Holy cow.
$5 million.
I could do a little bit with that.
Pretty nice little bonus to winning.
When they hit they ball in the bunker and all that, why they be getting so upset.
Yeah.
We talking about $5 million.
I know.
Right, that's a lot on the
speaking
line.
of balls in the bunker, look at this really cute video of this is a tradition at the Masters. The players' kids get to dress up in their white suits and hit the golf course. Look how precious. And there's some they're rolling around in the sand. I mean, it gets really funny.
And if
Sometimes they're
$5,000 is on the
crying.
line.
They're trying their best to is that a little
is he
video
holding the
camera?
camera?
Okay. Oh, there
Look
we
at
go.
that.
Come on, girlfriend. It's so
Rahn's
cute.
daughter.
I love it. It's just such a sweet tradition.
It is. And if like I said, if $5 million is on the line, you got to start them young.
She took a
Little
double.
tumble.
Oh,
Got the
there
glasses
they go.
on.
So that's just a really cute video.
Man,
But
I miss being a kid now.
I know. I mean, it'd be pretty fun to have your dad be a professional
Right.
Yeah, it would. I put a lot of pressure on you. You got to be like
I know.
Charlie Woods.
Yeah.
I
Have
know.
you,
Charlie Woods is good though.
Have you got your kids
He's
into
on
football?
fire.
No. My kids right now, they play basketball. My oldest keeps telling me she wants to do soccer, which I've never played soccer in my life. So it's going to be quite
Well,
interesting.
get him into golf because that's where all the scholarships are in college.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I thought it was tennis.
Well, tennis too.
It was
Tennis and golf.
I know it was golf when we were in high
Yeah,
school,
maybe
but
it's
it
changed to
changes every
tennis.
so often.
That's
there you go.
we can put you in golf. I can't help you. Last time your dad was out there, it didn't go well.
Well, let's talk about the menu that Rory gets to pick.
Did you hear about this?
Yes, so we have a little graphic of it. Okay, so appetizers, peach and ricotta flatbread. Sounds good.
Okay,
Not
that'd be
very
good.
Irish. Rock shrimp tempura, bacon wrapped dates.
I like that.
Grilled elk sliders. What do you guys think about that?
I bet that'd be good.
Okay.
3 out of the 4 I'd eat.
Yeah, I think I would try it all.
Yeah.
Actually, it all sounds great.
So the first course, yellowfin tuna carpaccio. Main courses, wagyu filet mignon or seared salmon. And dessert, sticky toffee pudding.
I'd eat all of that.
And someone asked him like, "Hey, why isn't this more Irish?" Like because he's from Ireland, and he was like, "Would you want to eat any of that food?" I know. I thought that was kind of a funny response,
No,
but
he sold me a wagyu filet.
I know.
He's
fancy.
speaking my language.
Right?
Ooh,
That seems like a
Wait, who won the year before Rory?
Scotty Scheffler.
Okay, that
Did you
he
see
looked
his
a lot of
menu?
really different.
His menu, when he said what he had, I can't
Oh,
remember
gosh,
off the
I'm
top
pulling
of
it
my
up
head.
again.
But mine, I was drooling a little bit. It was delicious. I don't think he had one bad thing on his menu. I was like, I try all of that.
He had like burgers,
his
French
menu
fries.
was great.
So
Yeah,
maybe that's
cheeseburger sliders, Texas style chili,
yeah.
ribeye, Texas fire cowboy ribeye.
So that's
Anyway.
maybe a sign for the
hungry.
Just
Memorial
another fun
tournament.
tradition. That's
I'm
why I love the
hungry
Masters.
now.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, hey, you have a good weekend. You have a
Y'all as
baby
well.
shower coming
I
up.
do, yeah. We still got to come up,
Congratulations in
up
order.
with a T name for our son, but yeah.
You need a
Okay.
T name?
T name. We got 2 months to figure it out.
Ooh, okay.
Well, under 2 months now.
Travis?
Nah, see, that's too close to Tyvis.
What about Troy?
But see there.
Troy? No?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Okay.
What's Angela saying? What Angela? Tim.
See,
That's
but
cute.
then, see, I work with Tim Hall, so like.
Yeah, it's hard. All right. Well, congratulations and
Thank
have
you. I
fun this
appreciate
weekend.
it.
All right.
We'll
We'll
be
be
right
right
back.
back.
Welcome back to the. What are we calling this? The big
Welcome
picture.
back to the big picture.
It's
Hey,
Friday.
It's Friday. Words are hard. Angela with us right now.
Hey, what's
Hello.
going on?
Thanks for coming
TGIF.
on here. I
Yes.
know. And we have an episode. You have an episode of Boomtown dropping tonight at 10.
We do, Big Boomtown. Okay, so everyone's heard about Link Us, right?
Yes.
This big $8 billion project to change how we move around. The first BRT line, those bus rapid transit lines, is really coming to fruition. They hope to break ground later this fall, like October, November.
Okay.
And they're going to start building it along West Broad Street, starting from like Prairie Township on the far west side of Franklin County, and then working their way in towards downtown Columbus.
And because this is the whole idea of a BRT line is it's dedicated bus lines.
It's
not
just buses,
right?
yep.
These aren't sharing the roads with cars. I'm curious how it'll be enforced.
I think it will be
Will
enforced.
people stay out of the bus lane?
Well, they should, or else they're
Or,
going to get
I'm curious if
ran
there'll be
down.
like, I don't know if there'll be like, bollards or something to keep cars from crossing into the bus lanes. I'm very
Maybe.
curious how this is all going to work.
Well, we've got that fast lane along 670, right? And so
Yeah.
you've got the big X when you're not supposed to use it, and then during rush hour. And I feel like people follow that pretty
that's
well.
funny. We didn't have any of that in Cleveland, that fast line. I thought that was only for like if you had 4 people in the car.
No,
It's if you're going fast.
It's not a carpool. It's just when there's rush hour, they just open up that berm lane and you can go.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so BRT, so what they started this month is they're now starting a lot of letters, right? TOD, Transit Oriented Development. 10 hearings to really talk about what do people want to see around these 17 bus stops along West Broad Street? So like what kind of housing, affordable housing, some green space. Sorry, my alarm's going off if you can hear that.
I'll go grab it. Keep talking.
But green space, restaurants, what makes these bus stations so successful is really what's built around it, right?
And what's fascinating to me is I think the whole idea of that is to give people get them closer to the standard lines, right? Quicker. It gives you a faster way to get from point A to point B to then transfer.
Sure. And you know this, and so I think we have something from my conversation with Jeff Collin.
Yes.
He's with CODA, and he came on this week in Boomtown to really talk in depth about what they're hoping to hear from people in the next month.
Right. So this is actually the one from the conversation that happened at Prairie Township the other night.
Okay.
We heard a lot of people wanting more green space, more places where they can bike, but also make sure that they have better access to grocery stores, make sure that they have better access to daycares. We're hearing a whole variety of ideas.
I feel like their job is hard. There's a lot of people they're trying to accommodate for, and everyone has different places they need to be.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so it's making that work for the entire community. And obviously we're growing.
Yes.
So it's really meeting that demand. I think their job is pretty tough.
Yeah. And because you have to figure out where people, the most people are going and figure out your routing. And because I know that's my issue with a couple lines.
What's going on, Collin,
the
in front of your house?
The 5 and the 32, which are the closest lines to me, used to be, and the signs still say this, are frequent service lines, which is supposed to be every 15-minute routes.
Sure.
But both the 5 and the 32 only come in 30-minute increments.
Were you told that? Is it on the app that says every 30?
Yes,
so when you
the
look
app
at
says every 30, but the signs still have the 5 and the blue, which is supposed to be a frequent service. Yeah, it's red or blue. Anyway,
Do you see people
it's supposed to
standing
be a
out there
frequent.
for a while, like waiting?
I think everybody at this point uses the app. Most people
Okay.
use the app these days to be able to track their bus,
Okay. So
they
which is
know.
super convenient. But
You want it back to 15?
I do.
Yeah, he does.
I do. I have thoughts.
You should have been in here when Jeff was.
Yeah, I know.
But
I
you
have
know
to
what?
catch
You
him.
could go to these meetings, and they have 10 of them between now and I think June, because I think they want to hear from people like beyond, even though this bus BRT lines are 90% design, there's still that 10% room for them to make
There's wiggle room.
tweaks, right? There's wiggle room. So they
Yeah.
want to hear like, hey, if you put, say, a doctor's office here, a flower shop, and something else in a bookstore, then and make the lines more frequent, then I don't have to go all the way downtown. Like I can make it easier for my life.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. So what else is coming up tonight?
Yeah.
So on This Week in Boomtown, we're also talking about growth. So obviously, Jobs Ohio, the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, key players in growth. So during this week's CMC luncheon, it was such a great topic. It was the race for Ohio's economic future.
Okay.
And it is a race. When you look at where we are and other states now trying to be like us, they're all racing to catch us. And we asked the question, $1 trillion question, are we sustaining this momentum, or are we just trying to prevent decline? Because people are still moving out of Columbus for jobs, right? So how are we bringing them back in? So we kind of dive a little bit into that, but Steve Stivers from the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, he used a little hockey play from Wayne Gretzky and said, you got to skate to the puck. And so he said, we are skating to this puck that's moving very fast when it comes to growth. So kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I know Intel. What is going on with that?
What's not going on with this?
I know. I
Might be
just
the
feel
bigger
like, is that
question.
a big hiccup in all of this, kind of?
I mean, there's still construction out there. We still hear from people that see all these trucks coming and going. And we hear from Intel from time to time that they say they're still going to manufacture chips. I think what the state is realizing that whatever happens with the AI growth and the change in these chips, that facility will be built for something. So it's manufactured that if it needs to change and pivot, it's still going to bring in big business.
Right, because it's still a warehouse. Like there's a lot of you can just reconfigure the inside.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So tonight, 10 p.m. this week in Boomtown, right here on
New
10 TV
time.
Plus.
New time.
New time, yes.
But you can watch
10
it anytime once it drops.
That's
those
true.
new episodes
Yeah.
there on 10 TV Plus, where you're watching us right now, hopefully. So
Thanks, guys.
All right. Angela, thank you so much.
Good to see
Have
you
a
as
good
always. Happy
weekend.
Friday.
Yes, happy
yes.
Friday.
Coming
we'll
up
be right
next, we are talking about the
Consumer Price Index
Consumer Price
report.
Index.
First one
Ooh,
to
I
be
don't want that. I'm
released
out.
since the war started. So
Yeah.
we're
We'll be
talking
right
to an
back.
economist about that. All right, welcome back to the big picture. We are talking about the economy this morning. A new consumer price index just dropped. And unfortunately, the economy has surged. We are seeing the highest inflation numbers that we've seen in the last 2 years.
Right.
And we have an economic professor joining us from Cedarville University this morning. Jeff Heyman joining us right now, all the way from... Wait, you're not Jeff Heyman.
I'm not Jeff Heyman. I'm Jared Pinson, his colleague.
I know. I thought Jeff was joining us. I'm so sorry. Well, hey, thanks for joining us this morning. Waking up early. You're on the West Coast right now in Vegas, right?
We just got back from a
Okay,
conference.
got
so
back.
I'm on West
Awesome.
Coast time mentally.
Okay, so I know you took a look at the latest report. What are your initial thoughts?
It was a better report than anticipated. I know that the headline number was the highest number since April of 2024, but the core number, so stripping out food and energy, was only 2.6%, which was a little below estimates. And that is good for what the central bank is going to do. So I understand that the headline was high, 3.3%, and the month over month was a 0.9% gain, which was really large. And as everybody knows, that's driven by gas prices. 75% of that was gas prices. But in general, I was happy with the report.
And how much does the conflict in Iran have to do with these new numbers coming out?
Yeah, so the month over month number, again, was driven almost exclusively by just the changes in gas prices. And considering that the price of oil went from roughly $65 a barrel to $100 over this time frame, you could say that almost all of this increase was because of what's happening in Iran.
How do you think this report's going to impact maybe interest rates?
Yeah, so this was the key with the core number only coming in at 2.6%, which it means that the Federal Reserve is probably going to be in a wait and see pattern. There's no reason right now to raise interest rates. And I do think they learned from the last energy price spike that we saw actually in 2007 when oil went up quite a bit then, and they raised interest rates to cut that off, and that helped cause the recession then. So I think they're in a better wait and see now.
I know in the past experts have said that war can stimulate the economy, but do you think we're seeing the opposite of that?
Well, I mean, economists don't think that war stimulates the economy. So we consider that one of the fallacies that people hold. Just because war is destruction, the only thing that stimulates the economy is more production. So I don't hold to that.
And for the folks at home looking at some of the numbers, basically food prices stayed relatively unchanged. For the average person at home, what do these new numbers mean in the grand scheme of things? What are they going to expect in the coming months? Can they?
Well, what happens in the coming months is completely dependent on what is going to happen with the Strait of Hormuz. If the Strait of Hormuz opens, we will see energy prices quickly fall, and this will be a temporary bump in the road. If they stay elevated, then we can expect gas prices to be around where they are now, maybe even slightly higher. But the rest of inflation won't be affected till for several months if that's the case. But if energy stays high, yes, that will trickle down into other aspects of inflation, and food will be one of those. Package delivery, airline cost, the typical things that you would think of.
So most thing, as we speak about prices right now in terms of what we're paying, it's a slow increase until we hit some of those later effects. We know that airlines buy their fuel basically on contract for the future, but once that is expended, that's when those prices start to go up.
Yeah, and it actually depends on the airline. So most airlines do, months out, but some airlines, depending on their financial situation, have to buy at the spot market. And that's when you'll see fuel surcharges. But when you look out 3 months, 6 months, 9 months on the oil market, we see price of oil somewhere around $70 to $75. So even the market itself is assuming relatively quickly that we will not have this oil spike. They could be wrong, but we're not seeing that again in the future prices months out from now.
Are you seeing that Americans are changing their spending habits for these higher prices that we're experiencing?
Not yet. We're basically just 1 month into this. Now, again, if we have another month in, we'll start seeing that. And where you will see it is in the summer driving season. Now, this might be a little bit of a unique year. It's the 250th anniversary. Lots of people might be going out to the national parks and just say we're gonna bite the bullet on that one and gas. But that's where you'll see it, because that's the travel season if people are going to cut back.
Bottom line, what should families prepare for when it comes to their wallets with all of this new info?
Yeah. I think you should, make smart choices with, that gas prices have increased. So start combining trips. It's one thing to go to the supermarket just for a gallon of milk when gasoline is $2.60. It's another thing when it's, $3.40, $3.80, wherever you happen to be. So be smart about that. But you shouldn't make huge changes to your budget at this point, because inflation is constant and in check of where it's been over the last 2 years or so.
And I mean, when we looked at the last time that we saw gas shoot up, I guess it was when Russia invaded Ukraine, and we saw gas prices shoot up well into the $4 range. Even then, did people really change their driving habits? Did they change their habits? And, is that something that we're looking at again?
Well, there's also two things going on there, not just the oil price spike, but you had other supply chain disruptions, and you had very accommodative monetary policy and fiscal policy, which was pushing inflation across the board up. So it's tough to disentangle exactly what the effects there were. It was mostly monetary and fiscal policy driven. So people are cutting back broadly across the board. This is a particular case where, again, outside of energy, which I realize we all have to buy energy, inflation just didn't move all that much from where it's been on trend. And so there's not a reason to make large changes to what you are doing.
Okay. Was there anything else in the report that kind of stuck out to you that we haven't talked about today?
I think I was just happy with where the numbers were, given that the Federal Reserve has been very cautious about raising or even lowering rates, just moving rates in general. And this just gives them ammunition to keep their present course, which seemed to be the wise course at this point.
So if the ceasefire holds, do you think we'll start to see maybe some numbers going down?
Yes. I don't know if in April, it depends on how quickly that is. But certainly by May, if the ceasefire holds, you'll see a collapse in energy. We saw that the other day initially when oil fell roughly $20 a barrel. And now it's back up about $10 from there just because of the uncertainty. But if you open up the strait, you have more certainty in that region. You're going to get about 20% more oil flowing through that than we had than we have right now. And that will lead to pretty dramatic decreases. Now, will it go back to where it was before? No, there's still going to be a risk premium. So I'm not expecting oil to go back down into the mid 60s at that point. Probably the mid 70s per barrel would be a rough estimate.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Okay. Interesting conversation there.
Absolutely. So coming up next, we are circling back to what we talked about at the top of the hour about the funeral service for Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons. Station of Ken is joining us next.
All right, welcome back to The Big Picture. Station of Ken with us right now. Happening currently until 10:30 is the visitation hours for Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons, who is officially being laid to rest today. And he is the third one out of
the three Ohio
airmen that were killed in Iraq. So you do a lot with the veteran community. What does this mean right now for their families?
You know what? I just think to myself about the last 4 weeks, because 4 weeks ago this morning, we as a community had no idea what had just happened. We knew there was a crash. We didn't know if Ohio was connected yet. And that started to develop throughout this day 4 weeks ago. This is the third funeral of the 3 airmen. And I just, my heart goes out to the families. Tyler Simmons' family has been very open and willing to talk about this loss and the grief that they're moving through. And the other families we haven't really heard from, just in their process, they have asked for privacy and respecting that. I think it's been, you know, what we're going to see today with Master Sergeant Simmons' funeral is a lot of openness. They've got a live stream. The media is welcome. The public is welcome. And so I think that reflects just a different process for the family, where we've seen with Captain Angst, his funeral was open in some capacities. Meanwhile, the family for Captain Koval, they didn't want anybody to even know when it was happening. We didn't know if it had happened already until after it happened. So I think it just reflects these families and the things they're going through as they try to process this loss for themselves and what that's going to look like going forward.
Yeah, and these pictures you're seeing on your screen, this is a live feed right now from the visitation service going on right now. So
him as a little baby.
He's got the best smile.
I know.
These pictures, and you know, it's been lovely the way the family has allowed us to learn a little bit more about Tyler Simmons. And I feel like we all, in a way, feel connected to him as they are celebrating his life and the impact he will continue to make, because they're going to take the money that's been raised in the GoFundMe and they're going to turn that into scholarships for young people who want to pursue aviation just like Tyler. And I think that is an important legacy to keep sharing.
And the one thing, his family always said he had $1 million smile, and then that he loved everything that he did. He loved, that job.
He loved serving.
Yeah, and that job is really cool too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
To be the boom operator, I just think is so cool. And one of the pictures that I saw of him today, I was reminded of how proud he must have been, because he had that boom operator patch on his shoulder and wearing that airman uniform, and you just it's so tragic, this loss for the families, for the wing, for our community. And I just think it's important that we keep talking about these airmen. One of the things that I heard in the process of learning about this tragedy, speaking to the Gold Star family, so a Gold Star family, these are the families of our fallen. And each of these families is now a part of this community they never wanted to be a part. No one wants to be a part of the Gold Star family community in that way. But what I learned from the Gold Star community is what comes next after the funerals. This is where it gets really dark, because there's people surrounding them right now. They've been working to plan these funerals and making decisions. And I'm sure there is a lot of meaning in that. It's also keeps you busy. And what comes next when everybody else goes back to normal? They keep living their lives, and you have a totally new normal without your person. And I think that's where it's going to be really important as a community for us to show up for these families, for the wing, in whatever capacity they will allow us.
How does the 121st Air Wing continue to help these Gold Star families?
I think they stay in touch with them. What we've heard from the families is that the wing and the military, they've been wonderful in their support so far. And I know that's going to continue, because this base, this is the air side. The Army side dealt with a similar loss where they lost 3 soldiers just over 10 years ago. And actually that happened on April the 4th. And so they just passed that anniversary of losing 3 on the other side of the base. So they know how to support people. They know what's important. And they're going to be teams of people who are going to walk with these families moving forward in whatever way they need, because there are still things to be worked out. And I hope we can keep talking about these airmen as a community so that their memories live on.
Yeah, and Gold Star families are often so very supportive of each other. There's a whole network, unfortunately. But they've been through this, and they know how hard this situation is. It's no parent ever wants to say goodbye to their child.
No.
And, they know this loss, and they know that the world keeps turning, but they're stuck with this grief. But there is a whole network of people out there that are going to step up and help them. But that also falls on us to do the same.
Absolutely. And it's hard, because you think to yourself, well, I don't know these families personally, so how do I show up? I hope that we get to find out more about how we can all do that as a community, and what kind of tributes might continue in their honor, because that's going to be important for all of us to plug in with, again, to keep their memories alive, to keep their mission alive. The wing continues this work that they're doing, happens in the skies above us every day. These refueling missions continue. And I think learning more about that and celebrating that work, I think honors all of these airmen, their families, and the wing.
I mean, I was at the flag lowering ceremony a couple weeks ago with his family, and I wasn't even there very long, but just even speaking to them and speaking to Tyler's friends and just sharing stories, they talked about his laugh that they're going to miss. You feel a part of it a little bit, and you feel like you're giving that support to them when they need it the most. So I really hope there's a lot of people that show up today for this visitation and for the service that's happening at 11, because you don't have to be there for long, but just kind of paying your respects. It's important to do.
Yeah, and the family has been very, this is a public visitation. They've been very welcoming to the help. Some people, don't want the attention, and it's not about the attention, but this is their son loved serving his country. And I think a lot of people want to say thank you for doing that. Even when we had a video from outside the church, there were people starting to go into that visitation at the top of the hour. And there's about 40 minutes left in that visitation time.
I mean, the entire 121st Air Wing's going to be there as well.
Oh, for sure.
So
Because they show up for each other. And I think it's an important reminder, we're not a traditional military community with a military installation where people live and work. So this community isn't built that way. But we have a huge military population here, a military connected population. And I think this is also an important reminder to thank them for what they do every single day.
Right.
They serve as families. They serve in our community every single day. We can remember that and be reminded of the sacrifice that is involved. It's real and it's happening in our community every day. And when those flags go back to full staff at sunset tonight, after they lay to rest Master Sergeant Tyler Simmons, we as a community can continue to celebrate their lives, celebrate the mission of this wing and our military right here in Central Ohio.
Absolutely. And right, you mentioned that, we're not a traditional military community, but we've got the supply depot in Whitehall. We've got Rickenbacker. And Dayton's kind of the same way.
And you have a huge veteran population, a huge veteran population here as well. We're in the top 10 for the entire country for the number of veterans who live and work here in Ohio. And they feel this loss as well because that military connected community is real and they show up for each other, and we can show up as a community whether or not we're specifically connected because they serve for us and we enjoy our freedoms because of what they do every single day. So we're all military connected.
Right.
And our Catherine Simon, she's there right now. She's trying to speak with
she
family
Bill
and friends.
Price
So we'll have more coverage of this coming up later today.
I think it's going to be a beautiful tribute, and I hope people will plug in to see how he is honored today.
Right, absolutely. And that what the family calls a homegoing service that begins at 11 this morning.
Yeah. Stacia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to The Big Picture. We are talking about Artemis again because we have finally reached day 10 of their 10-day journey. They are splashing down back to Earth later today in just a matter of under 12 hours at this point.
It's about
the window's between 8 to 10 p.m. in San Diego is where they'll be landing. And the weather is shaping up to be good over there, which was always a concern. But this is a risky part of the mission.
It is.
Things have been smooth sailing so far, but this heat shield, and they're traveling about 25,000 miles per hour very fast. It can catch fire.
Right, and so it does. And because of the friction with the Earth's atmosphere.
Right.
You see that all of this like fire look come off the capsule, and that's plasma because of how fast this is re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. And during that time, we actually lose radio contact because that plasma disrupts radio waves.
It's about
and so
an 8 minute.
for about 8 minutes,
break.
we lose contact with them. So they're on their own.
So if an emergency is happening, we don't know about it down there, but they're up there trying to figure
and
out
they
how
know
to
all of
negate it.
that. So right now, this is a look from NASA's
where they
basically
are.
Artemis tracker, and we can get a look. So in the center of your screen is Earth. Right now, they are traveling at almost 5,000 miles per hour, being pulled back by Earth's gravity. They've only got about they've got about a little less than 70,000 miles to go. Think about that. 70,000 miles by about 8 o'clock tonight.
They're moving fast.
Yeah.
And so imagine coming in that fast and that hot through our world's atmosphere. I mean, it's very dangerous. It's high risk.
Right. And we've heard over and over that this mission is not over until those astronauts are pulled out of that capsule and back safely. So
yeah, and our meteorologist, Meredith Garfalo, she is our resident space gal. She is our correspondent with all of this. She's leading the coverage for our parent company, Tegna, tonight with the live coverage of this splashdown starting at 7. But earlier today on our morning show, she kind of went more in depth about the risks that are associated with this splashdown.
Absolutely. This is the most dangerous part. It's the final 100 miles of this almost 700,000 mile trip. Now, they call it the 8 dramatic minutes when it's coming back in for reentry. Speeds are going to be at roughly 25,000 miles per hour, and we have to slow it down to 20 miles per hour within that short window. So what happens is it becomes a fireball pretty much, and that hot plasma that's going to surround the Orion, it's going to cause it to lose contact with ground control for that small window. And then after that, all these parachutes deploy. It's going to be in a series of several. And then that's when they can splash down in the Pacific Ocean, which is going to be off the coast of San Diego, and wait for their ship to come and bring them back to shore. It'll be very exciting to hear their experience. And we'll be having all of that coverage for you right here on 10 TV. Now, you can watch my full interview with Rick Henfling, as well as NASA Johnson Space Center's director on 10 TV Plus. The Artemis 2 splashdown is slated for tonight between 7 and 10 p.m. I am so excited to lead our coverage. You can catch me covering that for you right on 10 TV Plus. And if you have any questions, the best part is you got me to look at them, and I might be answering some of those with our team tonight. Just text the number you see on your screen, 614-460-3345. And if you haven't already, all you have to do is download 10 TV on your TV and on your smartphone, and you can watch for free.
Oh, I think a lot of people have been wondering. Oh, that was us.
That was
Colin.
us.
Oh,
just a few hours ago.
Now we've switched spots. But I think a lot of people are wondering, why are we going back to the moon? Well, this is all part of a larger mission for 2027 and 2029 to eventually put people on the moon, figure out how to have like functioning life there. They really want to explore the bottom part where they believe there's some ice and maybe water sources. So there's still a lot to learn about the moon. And that's this whole mission, Artemis 2 and Orion, was that first effort to launch the other 2 missions eventually, if this goes successfully. Right. And so Meredith actually spoke with Vanessa Wash yesterday, who's with NASA. And I love this part of the interview. And she kind of explains why we are going to space right now. And a lot of it's because of the health reasons we want to learn about when we are there on the moon.
Some people may question, why is a mission like this important, especially when it's like, well, why space? Why now? There's focuses that should be so many other places here on Earth.
Yeah. So, what our crew members have been able to do, we had Artemis 1, which we flew the spacecraft without crew on it, and we had cameras on it. It was able to do some imaging. We have an orbiter that actually is called a lunar reconnaissance orbiter, and it circumvents the moon and gets information about it. But with our crew members on board, what they have been able to do with just their visual eyes and additional cameras and the learning about the moon itself, we're looking at going to the south pole of the moon. We believe there's water ice there. We'll have the ability for us to actually live there in that environment, grow a base and to do scientific experimentation there. But we also know that there are rare minerals that are there. And so we want to be the ones to go to mine that. And those things will be able to transfer and help us back at home. And so, what we learned in Apollo, We miniaturize things, some of the things that technology has spun off into, your cell phones, the things that we're able to do now based on what we learned from Apollo, and just look forward to what we'll be able to do going to changes to our economy going forward right here on Earth.
And, we learn new things every time we go.
Oh, yeah, you have some facts.
Right. During, some of the earlier moon missions, we didn't know how space flight was going to affect the eyes. We used to think that it was the possibility that without gravity, the eyes wouldn't be able to focus and that you would basically be blind. So, these are these questions that we have to, find answers to every time.
What do you think moon dust tastes like?
I don't know.
Cheese?
The moon's made of cheese, right?
Right,
Okay.
exactly. But Ohio, of course, obviously has really deep ties to the history of aviation and space. So this is what Vanessa had to say. She was thinking Ohio.
Well, I want to thank the people of Ohio. I want you to know that you have been a major contributor to this mission, the Orion spacecraft. We have what we call the service module, which provides the propulsion for us to be able to do all of these maneuvers. That actually has been managed right there at the Glenn Research Center. And then the Orion spacecraft itself, a lot of testing was done up at the Armstrong test facility. And so I want everyone in Ohio to know that you played a major, major role in making this mission happen. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, one of the modules was tested up in Cleveland, Brook Park area for NASA Glenn up there. So we've had a part in it as well. So good luck to those traveling
and
back
here's our
down
special
to Earth.
coverage tonight.
Yep.
That begins at
Starts
7. Meredith will be there. And that's going to do it for us here on The Big Picture.
Thanks for joining us for our first month.
Yeah, we'll see you Monday.
Bye.